Did you know that actually communication is one of the biggest factors between success and not successful, between people staying together and not staying together, between arguments starting and not starting? That's why today we're actually diving into some of the skill sets needed for real estate agents in communication, not only to talk to buyers, sellers, and also sometimes other real estate agents. So let's talk about that. Hey everybody, if you don't know who I am, my name is Philip Shepard. I've actually been a real estate broker for over 15 years. Now this channel is your go-to resource for one of the best and most rewarding careers in the world, real estate, helping individuals and families, possibly just like yours, secure their next home as well as possible investment. So if you find yourself here and you are here to actually assist more people with their home sales and in turn make a great life for yourself, you have found the perfect corner of the internet. So without further ado, let's jump right into the content. All right, and one of the major skills you need to learn being in real estate when it comes to talking to almost anybody, and I think this is the most important skill, let's start off with a bang, is you need to be able to listen more than you talk. And there have been a lot of ratios thrown out there on the internet and books of ratio. I mean, I don't really care about ratios. Just stop talking sometimes and actually pay attention to your clients, pay attention to the real estate agents, pay attention to your buyers, whatever the case is. Now, obviously, we've all been guilty of this, is that we've been talking about ourselves, talking about this, and we almost kind of ignore the needs of the client. And so this is why this skill is probably the most important, is because if you just learn to honestly shut up, like I've had to a lot of times, you just need to be able to hear what people are saying. And the reason I mentioned this is one of the biggest skill sets is that people don't often come out and say, here's what I need. A lot of times you have to read between the lines and you have to then reiterate back to them what you're understanding. And so a lot of the conversations you have with both real estate agents, sellers, buyers, whatever the case is, anyone in the industry, in this industry, you need to be able to kind of regurgitate what they said just to clarify that we're all on the same page. And oftentimes people that are talking to both specifically buyers and also sellers, they don't always know what they want. And so they'll kind of beat around the bush, or they'll kind of get there, or they're like, well, this would be great, or this is great. And eventually you kind of like piece it all together and you give it back to them and say, oh yeah, that makes sense. And you can't get to that spot without listening way more than you're talking. And so that is kind of the attitude that you want to enter into a lot of these conversations, is the fact that you're not there to be salesy. We'll talk about that in a second. You're not there to, it's not about you, it's about them. And so if you go with that attitude with listening more than actually speaking, that is probably one of the core things you will actually learn in real estate and actually the whole industry, if you learn that. The next little set that's kind of like adjacent to listening more than speaking is the fact of then processing that actual information and then kind of reading between the lines, boiling it down to some of the core things, and then actually giving it back to them and saying, is this what we're looking for? That is a whole different skill set that takes time, practice, and obviously going back and forth, making sure, but you will not get there before you get here. So just know, listen more than you speak. It will serve you tenfold. And the second communication skill set you need to learn in real estate is honestly being a calming spirit. Now, if you have a bend towards, I don't want to say anger, but just being, I would say, easily ignited, we'll say it that nice way, I would be focusing a lot on this, because once you start getting into deals and when tensions start rising in inspection reports and negotiations, or this didn't happen, or your buyer left this, your seller left this, you need to have a calming spirit to everything. Now, you could also argue this could be a problem solving, but not all issues are looking for a problem. Like not all issues need a problem solved. They need a calming spirit. And most often than not, a solution isn't going to bring everyone to peace. Oftentimes it's just a calming spirit that does that. And so I'm going to probably put this on you. You probably need to be this other person. And oftentimes the other agent you're working with may or may not be. Your buyers may or may not be. Your sellers may or may not be. You need to take that role on for yourself. And what I mean by that is that when tensions rise, I don't necessarily need to say you need to like poo-poo things away, but you need to bring the tension down. That is one of the core responsibilities of a real estate agent, is to just bring the temperature down for honestly all of those talking points. Now, obviously at some point you definitely need to bring a solution, and honestly, probably the only way you'll get to a solution is having a calm mind and a thoughtful mind, and instead of being like reactive in every single second. So when tensions do rise, I would be cautious of the language you use. I'd be cautious of the text message you send. I'd be cautious of pointing fingers. I'd be cautious of this. My usual running thought is that I usually have people in ignorance than them being malicious. And so if I usually have the attitude of people thinking that, oh, there's not ignorant, but just unaware and like just don't know it, I'm not going to be that know-it-all. I'll be like, let me tell you, like, oh, okay, let me help you in this situation. Let me help you do this. Let me bring light to this. If you reversed it and said these people are stupid, that they're trying to put me in a corner, or they're trying to hurt my pride, they're trying to they're trying to make me look stupid because of maybe I'm a young agent, whatever the case, whatever verbiage you're telling yourself, I usually plead the ignorant side, that they're just unaware, and then so I would like to help the situation in some fashion that usually revolves around me using calming language versus other language of accusatory, so to speak. Whoa. Before we jump on to the next point, one of the hardest things in real estate we all can agree upon is actually finding leads. Finding people that are raising their hand saying, I want to buy or sell my home or buy a home. That's why I made a guide, a PDF, a book, so to speak, of over 100 ways of actually finding leads in your local community. So maybe you're an introvert, maybe you're an extrovert, maybe you want to do social media, maybe you don't want to do social media, maybe you want to be online, maybe you want to do networking events, maybe you want to do farmers markets. Whatever the case is, there are lead sources, lead styles for you in this guide. We all know that real estate is, obviously can have different styles of people, introvert, extrovert. We all know that. And so you will find actual lead sources in there for you. So go ahead and download it, use it. It's completely free to use, 100% free, email below. And the next thing I want to also point out is let me know how you're using these lead sources. I always want to continually improve this guide because there are a million ways of finding leads in real estate. So again, enter your email below and download the guide and start using those lead sources, those lead styles right away. And again, I'd love to hear all the different ways you're using them and how are some things I can add to the actual guide itself. And another communication skill set you need to learn being in real estate is just being a quick responder. And I literally mean that one of the core differential, and you can see this all across the industry, is how fast and how efficiently you communicate with your clients and also real estate agents will oftentimes determine your future. That is just flat out true. The faster you can respond, phone calls, text messages, emails, this, and this, you will be more, you're going to be able to put more people in houses that love the houses. You're going to be able to obviously do better yourself, and you're just going to be able to communicate better and faster, and your reputation will go before you. And this is where branding comes into play. This is where obviously people, obviously marketing comes into play. What people say about you behind your back comes into play. All like that, which is brand essentially. So those things all make a huge difference. But just when it comes to skill set, responding quickly makes a big difference, and especially when it comes to obviously negotiations. I don't need to be any more obvious there. And then secondly, when it comes to solving issues, when it comes to inspection, whatever the case is, even trying to work with buyers or sellers or listings, it all adds up and it makes a difference. So the faster you can communicate, get an answer to somebody, offer a solution, do this, do that, you will oftentimes be better than most in the industry and probably be in some of the top echelon of agents, because honestly, a lot of them don't get back quick enough and they end up causing more tension because of lack of response than actually getting the job done oftentimes. But that's not you. And the last effective communication skill set you need to learn in real estate is actually not really communication at all in the way I'm talking about. Body language plays a huge role in any sort of real estate engagement. Now, what I mean by that is that I would also, if you are interested in body language and how that all plays out, how people perceive certain things, I would definitely research YouTube. I'm not going to do a full video on body language, but some core things that I would point out if you're concerned about body language is things like don't lean up against, if you're going to be talking to a client in a house, make it look like you're professional, don't have crossed arms, don't lean up against something, don't be sitting on a couch. Your body language makes a big deal. And this is kind of basic, but also sometimes we need to be reminded of this. Having direct eye contact with clients, smiling, having a natural bent towards positivity and happiness, and being thoughtful. All those core things make a big deal when it comes to nonverbal communication, body language. And so if you are concerned about your body language or you feel as though maybe you want to improve on that, research YouTube. I would definitely look at some videos about body language just in sales in general. There's a lot of different things out there that you can research for free. Obviously, go do that. But one of the things I would definitely focus on, if you feel that might be a thing that you lack, body language is a big deal. And I'll let you research that, but regardless, if you are concerned about that, research it, use it, and you will probably see a huge change in the response to that people have to you. They'll probably give you honestly more, I would say, respect and professionalism because of the way you're holding yourself. Just demand it. And I'm not necessarily saying you have to have a suit or tie or a dress or high heels, nothing like that. I'm saying the way that you present yourself, hold yourself, the shoulders, the way that you potentially lean against stuff or that you don't lean against stuff, or even just the way you hold your arms, the way you smile, the way you eye contact, it all plays a big deal. So research that, look into it, and it could be a real game changer for your career.